So the next thing to know that will save you tons of time, decades even, is that there are tons of things you've probably been told that you need to go and play and practice. I think a lot of people lose a lot of time, years, just jumping from one thing to another without any sort of real focus. So looking at these magazines that I absolutely loved, this to me is like a perfect example of what it's like to think as a musician nowadays. If I open up at a random page, you've got first one, you've got rock licks, then you're jumping onto the acoustic stuff, what a great page that is, mixed chromatic approaches, and classical stuff like Giuseppe Verdi on this page. Now, is that bad? None of that is bad, but it's all over the place. So there's this idea known as analysis paralysis, where if you're given so many different options, you don't know what to do. You spend more time thinking about what to play than actually going and playing. This is the same on the internet. There's tons of resources all over the place and they are vying for your attention. What they're not doing is thinking about how to make it easy to understand what you actually need to focus on. So let's solve this, because this is a mindset thing. If you take yourself as a musician, you are made up of basically 3 skills: rhythm, your ability to play in time, technique, and musical understanding, which is music theory and what's going on in the music. The most important on there for me is rhythm. If you can play in time, then you are a musician straight away. So there's your first point. Everything you do, even if it's to do with music theory or technique, should be geared towards playing in time and sounding good in time to the song. We take this huge concept and we try to narrow it down to something. The first thing I would do if I started entirely all over again is to learn songs all the way through from day one. So by focusing on one song and thinking about the entire thing, I need to understand chords, rhythm. I need to remember the parts of the song in order. All of this stuff presents you with a range of different problems. That's the stuff you practice. So quite simply, it goes like this: song, difficult bit, practice the difficult bit. And you've narrowed down this huge concept, what do I learn, down to a simple focus. This does assume that you know what kind of songs that you want to play though. And there's a lot of people that I've come across that don't. What do I play? What songs do I have to play in order to progress with? And there's the key with the whole thing. If you're playing, you need to know what you want to play by the end of it. You need to love that idea. You need to love the song that you're playing. So when I got into Dire Straits, I realized that Mark Knopfler was using his fingers to pick. I loved Slash, so I wanted to be able to bend like that. Paul Simon, finger picking. Paul Gilbert, alternate picking. Which gets me to the opposite problem in many ways. Something I struggled with was that I couldn't be all of these players. I was playing music from all sorts of different guitar players that played completely differently. One day I might be trying to play like Eric Johnson, which is hard enough. And the next, I'm trying to work out what Johnny Marr's doing with the Smiths. Overall, I think it did help because I had an idea. I've now got an idea of a whole bunch of different styles. But that's the thing. It's an idea. It's you take a small thing from that guitar player, you focus on it, but you don't have to be them. Okay? Because Johnny Marr is probably not practicing Eric Johnson songs, and Eric Johnson's probably not practicing Johnny Marr songs. Maybe they are, I don't know. But they're not trying to be each other. You put all these things together and it becomes your style. And people want to hear you. They don't want to hear you sound like Mark Knopfler, unless you're in a covers band. So the next thing to know that will save you tons of time, decades even, is that each of these players repeats themselves. There's a pattern that they all love using. They might be playing the same finger picking pattern. If we think of Merle Travis, he's literally got a finger picking pattern named after him. This simple idea you spend time focusing on can grow and become absolutely massive, and you can use it like he did in basically every song he ever did. So you take a small idea, a small and often basic idea, and you think, how can I make that the biggest possible thing? How can I take this tiny concept and blow it up and really make the most out of it? And that takes us back to the guitar magazines and learning to play online, because these jump around everywhere in the same way. And what you really need to do, if you do want to learn from these books, is pick a page and stick to the page. Pick an idea and stick to the idea. Go on YouTube and find something that you want to learn and stick to that idea. Stop jumping around. Learn how to pick like Merle Travis and then use it. B.B. King has his own pattern named after him, the BB box. And it's really simple, and if it's good enough for B.B. King, I think it's good enough for everybody. So you can listen to certain people, again on YouTube or something, listen to somebody in an interview talking about how they learn. And the key here is metacognition. And that's a really fancy ass way of saying, do you know what you already know, and do you know what you don't know? And the whole concept comes down to that. If you have some sort of idea of what you want to play, that is the song that you've chosen, then you can work out from that what you don't know and work out what you do know. And this is the crux of really what I'm getting at. Watching a YouTube video, listening to a YouTube video, even like this one, isn't actually practice. It just feels like practice. You watch somebody and they say, you play this, do this, and you go, okay, now I can do it, now what? Another person who I listen to all the time is Phil X, and he talks about taking a simple idea and just finding it somewhere else on the fretboard. Taking a concept that's been done tons of times, a phrase, a lick, a riff, whatever, and putting it somewhere else, and it changes it entirely. You haven't, you know, there's a lot of people talk about, like, I want to break out the pentatonic box. How do I break out the pentatonic box? I would say you don't need to break out the pentatonic box. You need to go deeper. Don't go wider. Don't find out more stuff. Find out how to play it differently. Go deeper down, like break through the surface and understand what each note means and what it represents within a certain context. Overall, what we're doing is we're taking all the information that we can see in front of our faces and we are basically filtering it. We become a internet filtering system and we say, I don't need all of this stuff. Can I actually ask myself, what do I want to get out of this instrument? What do I want to sound like? What do I want to do? And I'm going to unabashedly choose my favourite songs to play, and I'm going to go with them, and I'm going to narrow down the stuff that I don't need down to this focus. And considering that rhythm is the king out of everything. So if I'm working on rhythm, I'm winning. So I'm going to leave you with an idea here, a conversation I had with two of my best friends when I was younger, and we were playing guitar together, and I was playing this lick from a magazine I'd learned, okay? And it goes like this. That kind of idea. It's a string skipping thing. And one of my friends said, it's a lick that isn't a lick. He was absolutely spot on. And what he was saying is, yeah, it's something that I learned how to play, but have I ever used that? Have I ever played with somebody and started going? So can you think of any concepts that you learned from just a tiny moment yourself, from a video, from somebody, from a teacher, from somebody who happened to just mention something, from one of these magazines? And do you still use it now? Right, that's all from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.